The history of marijuana in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. 5,000 years ago, the Chinese Emperor Shennong used marijuana. He wrote about its medicinal values. It helped gout, malaria, and rheumatism. Ironically, it was also a cure for absent-mindedness. Over the millennia, use of weed spread to the Indians, dots not feathers, who used it recreationally. Europeans were smoking the herb by 500 AD. The Muslims also like to get stoned. The Quran bans the use of alcohol, so they created hashish, its use spreading through Persia and North Africa in the 12th century. Thanks to the Spanish, marijuana crossed the Atlantic in 1545. Olé! The English brought weed to Jamestown in 1611, where it became alongside tobacco a commercial crop. Its fibers used for rope, cloth, and paper. George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were both marijuana farmers. Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence on paper made from the plant. The first American flag was woven from marijuana fibers. God bless America. Between 1850 and 1942, marijuana was listed in the United States Pharmacopoeia. And just as Emperor Shennong had realized almost 5,000 years earlier, it could be used to help with rheumatism, along with relieving nausea and labor pains. During this time, cotton overtook marijuana as the major cash crop in the southern United States. In 1910, the Mexican Revolution brought many immigrants to the United States. They brought with them recreational marijuana use. Anti-immigrant sentiment sparked the first legal attacks against marijuana, and in 1913, California became the first state to make pot illegal. In the Roaring '20s, cannabis really hit its recreational stride. Jazz musicians and showbiz types were the main users, spreading its use through clubs called tea pads sprouting up in cities around the country. These clubs were not initially considered a threat, as patrons caused no problems in the community and the drug wasn't illegal. This soon changed as racism again raised its ugly head. The white establishment believed that marijuana was causing white girls to sleep with black men and breaking down the social order. By the 1930s, the U.S. Federal Bureau of Narcotics claimed marijuana was addictive and that it was a gateway to stronger narcotics. In 1936, the infamous and now cult movie Reefer Madness was released, financed by a church group. Who else? The movie claimed smoking marijuana would lead to manslaughter, suicide, rape, and insanity. By the 1950s, marijuana became part of American high culture, with Beat Generation writers and tokers like William S. Burroughs, Jack Kerouac, and Allen Ginsberg forming the vanguard. The 1960s saw marijuana break on through to the new countercultural mainstream, smoked by hippies, dropouts, war protesters, students, and the Beatles. It became an enduring symbol of rebellion against conformity and authority. Insanity took hold of the U.S. Congress in 1970 when they passed the Controlled Substance Act, the law that classified heroin, LSD, and marijuana as Schedule I drugs. In 1975, the Mexican government destroyed the entirety of its country's marijuana crop. Colombia became the main weed supplier to the U.S., and the drug cartels were born. During the Reagan-Bush years, the war on drugs created a zero-tolerance policy for marijuana use. Mandatory sentencing for possession explodes the prison population. Millions of young men, mostly black and Hispanic, are incarcerated for nonviolent drug-related crimes. The prison industrial complex rises. Today, the United States has 25% of the world's prison population and incarcerates more of its citizens than any country in the world. In 1993, Bill Clinton becomes president of the United States. He admits to having used marijuana. During the 90s, marijuana use comes back into fashion. In 1996, California becomes the first state to legalize medical marijuana. Alaska, Oregon, and Washington follow suit in '98. Maine does the same in '99, as do Nevada, Colorado, and Hawaii in 2000. In 2001, George W. Bush is given the presidency of the United States. He also admits to using marijuana. During W's presidency, Montana, New Mexico, Michigan, Vermont, and Rhode Island legalized medical marijuana. Marijuana goes mainstream. World-class athletes, business people, politicians, and entertainers all come out of the marijuana closet. The stigma fading. In 2009, Barack Obama becomes president. That guy admitted to smoking a lot of weed. Arizona, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, and D.C. all make medical marijuana legal during the Obama presidency. In 2012, Washington and Colorado become the first states to legalize recreational marijuana use. In 2014, Florida goes to the polls on November 4th. What happens next is up to us.
We got a great show lined up with some great people. We have Cheyenne, my friend. He's a dog. He had cancer, but we'll talk about that. This week I seen a picture of Jesus sitting there with his head down, bowed down, and the caption was, "I gave them the most useful plant and they made it illegal." Does that make sense or what? And here's what I like to talk about. What if it What if it was never illegal? What do you think some of the outcomes would have been? We could go over a few. You could call in on our website if you have any ideas. But basically, let's say, for instance, all the money that we spent on the drug war and the politicians, all the money they spent on making it illegal. Let's say we spent that money on research. Think about it. All the millions and billions of dollars that we spend wasted away, keeping cannabis from people that really, really need it. What do you think some of the outcomes would be? I have a few in mind, and if you agree with me, I'm sure my panel will. Let's say, first of all, let's say the jail systems. You know, the jail systems right now, it's a big industry, $1.7 billion. The United States has 25% more jail cells than any other country. It is big business. And they have quotas to fill. And, you know, if they don't meet their quota, the government has to pay. You know, more money, more tax money being wasted. You know, you get the big bank systems. I just read about a big bank system that was laundering money for the cartel. I don't know how many billions of dollars they laundry for the cartel. And a young lady in Georgia with 2 kids had $31 worth of cannabis and is doing 12 years in jail. Well, what's going on here? Why? And think about that research. If we did that research, the oil. Well, why do we fight wars? We fight wars because of the oil. We could be all using cannabis-driven cars. Cannabis could do anything oil could do. How about that? Another food for thought. And what about the cartel? 70,000 people died by the cartel. And we're not just talking people that are in the drug war together. We're talking about poor innocent civilians that die from this. We would eliminate that. And our brothers and sisters that are incarcerated, they'll be down to nothing. I mean, we have to do something as a group, as people that really, you know, are in this new generation, the people that are fighting this prohibition, you know. And then I'm thinking about all the people that died. You know, Afghanistan, every war we had over oil. The rich get richer, you know, and the poor pay the price. I'm getting fed up, and you know what? We got to do something. A lot of things are happening, but we could push it along further. We'll be talking to some friends later and give us some more ideas. But right now, I want to introduce my partner and good friend, Doug Breakstone. He's going to bring us up on the cannabis news this week, and we'll see what's going on. Then we're going to talk to Cindy and Colin and Mike a little bit later. They have some interesting things to tell us. But Doug, what's going on, brother?
Well, thank you, George. Good evening, Connecticut. How is everyone this evening? Beautiful evening. I hope we're all at home, relaxing, having a beer, a drink, and maybe rolling a joint, and just having a nice old evening. We are starting a new segment on this show, and it's Cannabis in the News. And so each time we do this show, we're going to present 3 or 4 news stories that are current in terms of things that are going on with marijuana that you may or may not know about. And during the show, you'll see that we are running our address under the credits. And if you folks have any interesting news that you would like to share with us and have announced on our next show or even this evening, please send it in and we will be more than happy to do that. So the first interesting article I found from the other day is that the Veterans Administration seems to be getting the message that veterans need an alternative to typically prescribed medications to help them with the issues that they are coming back from war with, especially PTSD. The Senate Appropriations Committee this week voted to back a law called the Veterans Equal Access Amendment. And under that measure, the physicians that a veteran will see in VA hospitals will be allowed to talk with that veteran about the use of medical marijuana to help whatever disease it is or malady they are suffering from. Now you have to understand that this is very trend-setting because, as we all know, marijuana is a Schedule I drug under the federal rubric of classifications. So that any doctor that works for a federal organization by law cannot speak with anyone about the use of a Schedule I drug. So this Senate subcommittee seems to be making sense and will allow, hopefully if it passes, to present this information to some of our veterans that might need medical marijuana. Additionally, I also read in the news this week, Bernie Sanders. Some of you may know him. He's the governor of Vermont. Governor Sanders has been very instrumental in trying to get the federal government to pass laws that make sense when it comes to the use and marketing and sales and so on of medical marijuana. He's in favor of legalization. They have put legislation in the Vermont legislature to legalize it. We had a discussion just before this show about states that could certainly prosper from the legalization of marijuana, and Connecticut being one of those, so close to New York, New Jersey, all the New England states, to allow cannabis tourism. Millions and millions and millions of dollars are being wasted because the state of Connecticut won't take that final step. And finally, I'm sure that virtually all of you know Morgan Freeman, the actor. Well, Morgan Freeman in the late 80s got into an accident, broke up his arm, his shoulder, has suffered severe pain and loss of physical use of his limbs. And he, since that time, has been using medical marijuana to help him overcome the issues that he's feeling because of his particular ailments. He is fighting for the right of people to be able to use medical marijuana, and I'm sure that we will hear in the not too distant future that he is going to be a very large investor in some business that is related to medical marijuana. So that's the medical marijuana cannabis news for this evening. Please send in articles, information that you would like to share with our listeners. And thank you very much, and don't burn your fingers. Enjoy the evening, everyone.
Thanks, Doug. Very well said. That's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable, yes.
You know, and then Montel, he is on medical marijuana too, I believe. Montel Williams, is it?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So, you know, and more actors and politicians are smoking. They're realizing how good it really is. Why have a drink? It's our prohibition right now. Things are changing, as I always say. That beautiful plant, let's get it to everybody.
They are changing.
Now I want to introduce my friend Cindy here. And Cindy is going to give us a little bit, wait a minute, before we do that, Walt, can we run Cindy's from Hemp CT? A little bit of our, about 1 minute? Well, see, that's what I love about live. We could do anything and say anything. We'll always have a good time. But we were at Hemp CT about 2 weeks ago. Cindy put it together, and about a bunch of people got a free medical marijuana license. Three. Shouldn't say that. But anyway, thanks to her efforts, and what a time it was. It was a beautiful day, but the main thing is we marched on the, what is that?
State Capitol.
State Capitol. Thank you, Colin. And here we go. Can we run that now? This is on the spot. Hi, I'm George Zito, host of Cannabis Then and Now. Here we are in Hartford, Connecticut at the 3rd annual Hemp CT Festival. All the proceeds of this event will go to people that can't afford their marijuana license, thanks to Sydney Day, who's a great lady who really cares. We're here to show everyone what's going on. Bands, vendors, speakers. It's all here, and so are we. Hi, I'm here doing some interviews with my buddy Doug Breakstone. Say hi, Doug.
How are we today, everyone?
For Cannabis Then and Now. And we have someone wants. We want to ask you a question. What do you think about medical marijuana?
I think it's about time. I think medical marijuana is the way of the natural. It is holistic and there's no side effects.
I think they should legalize medical marijuana. I think it's beneficial, not just for the patient, for economical reasons, local and national. As far as knowing someone, I do know a couple of individuals who suffer from post-traumatic war syndrome. I mean, from what I understand, from what they've taken, it does help.
Well, I think medical marijuana is a very legalized plant. I mean, it was created by the only God up here, you know, on top of us, you know. So I mean, it could just, you know, it's just it's great with pain, you know, just with just pain, and just bipolar or just any sickness that you guys have.
Now! Justice! Now! What do we want? What's the chant? What's the chant? What's the chant?
Here we are with another interview. This is a good friend of mine, Mary. We've been friends for like 35 years. And we're going to ask her the famous question. What do you think of medical marijuana, Mary? What do you think?
Well, I think that we need medical marijuana for everyone that needs it, which ranges from anyone with glaucoma, seizures, children with seizures that can't stop. To have one seizure that could have been prevented by medical marijuana is the miracle that we need. And people just need it for a lot of things. Arthritis, back pain, tension, post-traumatic stress disorder. I mean, you can put a person on many psychiatric drugs. I've studied psychiatry because I have a schizophrenic and a manic depressive sister, brother was schizophrenic, and if they had medical marijuana, they wouldn't be on the drugs that they put them on. And they don't work, they don't really, there's no cure, there's no magic bullet, but marijuana is.
Veronica, same old question. What do you think of medical marijuana?
I think it's a great thing because, you know, there's a lot of things that, you know, people that doctors just prescribe you, you know, that just gets you hooked onto something else, and then you got to take more drugs for that. And so it's like, what's the point? You know what I mean? So it's like you would rather just, you know what I mean, smoke or even eat it, you know, because people that have cancer or whatever, you can't eat and you feel down, you just, you know, eat a little bit. I know that like it helps with like insomnia and PMS even for like females.
I have John here who's going to give us an opinion. John, give me your opinion on medical marijuana. What do you think?
I think it's about time that all states have done something like that. Here in Connecticut, they already have a program. It's been in place for a little while, and looking forward to New York having its program in place very soon.
Mike was here on 420. Because of the rain, he was demonstrating, but he was a solo demonstrator. But you know what? His heart was in it. And here's Mike. Mike, what do you think about medical marijuana? I know you have an opinion.
It's great medicine. Say no to drugs.
And you think marijuana should be legalized?
Well, it's always been lawful. So let's end the whole fraud of this war on drugs. Let's read the 18th Amendment and the 21st Amendment and educate yourself and see that you cannot ban a plant lawfully. It's all been done through ACT, the Marijuana Tax Stamp Act of 1937 and the Controlled Substance Act. Both acts. Let me out of your theater, I'm a free man.
Thank you, Mike.
Really? That's what got you back.
Oh, there's Shine. Oh.
Looking away.
Hi, everybody. We're back. And thank you. That was a great day. The sun was shining. It was beautiful. Everybody got together. The music was great. Cindy put on a great event. And tell us a little bit more about it, Cindy. What happened? And inform us what's going on with the pediatrics, too.
Well, the pediatric bill, 1064, now has passed out of General Law Committee. It's waiting to be heard by the House, by the Senate, to be voted on, then to the House. Just keep calling your reps. But I want to talk a little bit about the event.
Yeah, that's what we want.
First of all,
Go
thank
ahead,
you so
Sam.
much to everybody who came. We got 20 people registered to vote. Thank you to Colin and Christina. Very important. We did raise enough money to pay 3 eligible patients referral fees and their registration fees, which is really, really what the compassionate part is. Being the passion of compassion.
Nice.
Just a reminder, the hemp bill is sitting at the House of Representatives waiting to be called, so call Rep. Sharkey and have him bring it for a vote. And I know that Colin here has a lot to discuss and more important information. He's your first patient, actually. Oh, no, because, yes, the first legal patient on your show.
I'm the first legal patient?
Yeah, because Terry, Terry hadn't won yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
first
exciting.
one.
How
And then we have
exciting.
somebody in process, but they didn't get their license yet.
Even
But
better.
you're the man.
How exciting.
Everybody, this is Colin, and Colin has a great story. And let me tell you, when I met him, I was blown away. His heart is so strong, and his love for his dog. And I'm not going to say any more. Colin, please take over and
Thank you,
tell us
George.
all that goodness.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you, Doug. Cindy, I love you. How you doing, Michael?
Okay.
Anytime.
Thank you,
My
brother.
friend Cheyenne here, she's a wonderful dog. We all know that medical cannabis is the forefront of what's going to be the newest economy. It's going to be the driving force of the economy over the next 15 years. It is the next economical boom. My friend Cheyenne is proof of the medical benefit of marijuana. She was diagnosed in 2013 on December 13th of stage 4 oral malignant melanoma.
Ouch.
At the same time, I actually got a divorce from my wife. She wanted no part of anything to do with marijuana. Funny enough, our best friend that we got together grew up to rely on it and need it. Without marijuana every day, she will be dead. It's funny, it's a cannabis oil pill, and it's a great product. Marijuana helps to not only stop cancer, cure cancer, it gives you a day of life. December 13th of 2013, she was diagnosed with stage 4 oral malignant melanoma again, the most aggressive form of cancer.
Wow.
Without chemotherapy, without having any body parts removed, without any of the recommendations of the doctors that they offered me, because I couldn't afford to spend the thousands of dollars they wanted, and I couldn't afford to watch my dog get cut to pieces and put out to pasture, basically. I found out that marijuana helps to give you life, to give you a little quality of life, a little bit better. It's awesome stuff, and I can't believe that legislators and lawmakers and all these politicians still haven't woken up to the fact that it should be 100% legal. We should be able to grow this stuff. We should be able to do whatever we want with this stuff. It's only pot, and it's never killed a single soul, and it's done nothing but help the people who use it every day. I have ALS friends. I have friends with cancer. I have friends with IBS, IBS, all sorts of issues. And unfortunately, cannabis is what they need to get better. There is no other efficacious treatment. You need cannabis. Doug was just talking about the veterans coming back. These poor vets, they come back with images in their heads that they don't want to live with every day. They don't want to have to remember these things. Who are we to say that they can't, at the end of the day, just smoke a little pot, maybe eat a brownie, do whatever the heck they want, just so that they can get through to the end of the day? It's not a big deal. It's only pot. I think people should have it. I think that Connecticut is absolutely uneducated. I think Connecticut has missed the boat. I think Connecticut's going to miss the boat. I think the next state in the Northeast to legalize marijuana is going to blow it up. I think the next state in the Northeast to legalize marijuana is going to own basically the industry. We have two of the biggest industries in Connecticut. We have pharmaceutical industry and we have the insurance industry. Those are the two largest economic driving forces of the economy right now, and they're the two largest opponents of marijuana. How do we think we can fight a war against them? It's going to be hard.
Too much money. They're controlling too much of the money.
And there's not enough compassion. There's not enough people with the heart to get out there and do what's needed.
Not enough love. But things are going to change. No,
I think
things
there
are
are
changing.
a lot of people that want to come out. They just don't know how to come out.
But you know what? We need more people. We need more. That's what we need.
Oh,
we need
if you're a
more.
registered patient, write your lawmaker. Tell them, hey, I'm a registered patient. I need this stuff to get by every day. Tell them your story. Write into Doug, write into George, write into the show. Let them know, hey, I'm a registered patient. This is why I treat with medical marijuana. You don't even have to be a registered patient. If you treat with medical marijuana because you work for a boss that's abusive all day, the guy's been yelling at you, he's not a nice guy, but you need to work for him all day. You have no choice because you have to make that dollar. You have to pay your mortgage. You have to pay your bills. At the end of the day, do you want to go home and be angry at your family? No, not because of this guy that's been yelling at you all day. You want to go home and smoke a joint so that you can love your family, so you can be a friend with your family, so you can be a family member and forget about what this guy did to you all day, because this guy doesn't deserve the thought process involved in the rest of your day. You deserve to go home and forget him. And if that takes a joint, why are we keeping it from people?
Well said, man. It's very true.
Very good.
Very
Better
true.
than booze. Everybody I talk to says that you talk to police officers, they'd rather go and deal with potheads any day. Alcoholics are violent. People get drunk, they fight, they yell, they scream, they hoot, they holler, they do stupid things. I drink, I have a heavy right foot, I drive fast when I drink. I shouldn't even do that. It's illegal.
70,000 people died last year from alcohol poisoning. 70,000.
Wow.
Not one person ever died of marijuana overdose.
Got that
no
right.
No way.
And you mentioned incarceration. Right now, there's a 60-40 split percentage. 60% of the people incarcerated in the United States of America are incarcerated due to nonviolent crimes.
Correct.
40% of that's disgusting.
It is.
And to major time.
America.
They're not doing 6 months or a year. They're doing 10, 12, 15 years.
Right. And
for $31 worth of marijuana.
I know, it's
Come on.
incredible.
yeah, and all because somebody wants to make a few bucks on the prison population.
I think that the state needs to get realistic about marijuana. They have to realize that for the past 20, 30 years, it has been such a huge black market economy. Huge black market economy.
They're losing billions.
They may have no idea about it. And the point is that if we want to raise some money from it, legalize it, tap the market, everyone will go home happy.
Looks like we have.
Well, listen, we had a great show. Went by really fast. I think we're going to have to do an hour show. Right? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
people
An hour, so definitely.
call in and let us know. Do you want an hour show? Doug and I and everybody else, we could do it.
Yes.
Mike,
George
love
can
you.
do it, no question about it.
I can talk. Give me a microphone. I'm ready. Thank you, everybody.
Great show.
And remember,
Enjoy your evening.
Peace.
Yeah.